What is up, Z Fighters? It's Manga Adventures, and today I'll be doing What If the Saiyans train before coming to Earth. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 5K before the end of the year. Hopefully this action-packed series will help me out, but enough shameless plugging. You guys are here for the story, so let's jump right in. We would start on a distant planet before the events of Z. The Saiyans have taken over another world, but Raditz didn't pull his weight again. There's a mission on another planet, and the residents are even mightier than the one they're on now. Vegeta doesn't need Raditz the runts holding him back, so he thinks aloud, why not kill the dead weight and save myself some time? Raditz pleads with the prince, saying, I have a brother that could lessen the load, but a brother of Raditz does not sound too appeasing. That's when Vegeta gets an idea. 1 year. Raditz, you have 1 year to make yourself useful. If you're unable to do so by then, you're dead. Simple as that. But if you can meet the deadline, you get to keep your life. Congratulations. Raditz is nervous, but is not going to argue the prince. He asks how I can prove myself, and for Vegeta, the answer is easy. Become stronger. Your goal for now? Defeat Nappa. If Raditz thought this task was challenged before, it seems impossible. Defeat the former general of the Saiyan army? Nappa cracks his knuckles prepared to fight, and with Vegeta watching, Raditz couldn't back down. He lunges forward, and as soon as he gets close, Nappa smashes him into the ground. This more than hurt since the power level difference is over 2000. Still, he gets back up, trying his hardest to injure Nappa in any way. He throws a flurry of punches that don't even make him blink before firing his Saturday Crush, which engulfs Nappa. But once the smoke clears, he emerges unharmed and cracks his neck with a smile. He then begins to give the beatdown of a lifetime to the runts, attacking even after he fell unconscious. But before the finishing blow is dealt, Vegeta stops him, telling his subordinate to throw him in the healing pod. This should be enough for his Saiyan's genes to kick in. Raditz wakes up, confused at what happened, not knowing how much time has passed, and one of Frieza's soldiers informs him Nappa and Vegeta went to another world to unwind before their next mission. Raditz is ready to rush over there, not wanting to let the prince down, but then it hits him. He feels amazing, even better than when he went in. He received a Zenkai. Not wanting to waste this additional power, he instead chooses to hone it before his rematch with Nappa. He trains intently for a whole month before appearing in front of his other Saiyans. The two mock him, saying, we thought you ran with your tail between your legs. But he isn't laughing. Nappa doesn't like the look of defiance on his face and charges forward. His punch is enough to send the young Saiyan flying, but he soon recovers, firing his signature Saturday Crush. Nappa awaits for it to hit, but then realizes it's much stronger than last time. He moves out the way just in time as it destroys the mountain behind him. Nappa is ready to beat on Raditz, harder than last time, saying, did you think you could catch up to me? Vegeta once again stops the fight, this time amused at the outcome, saying even a loser like him can get stronger thanks to his Saiyan genes. Nappa is hesitant to follow these orders, but he eventually throws him in the healing pod. Once Raditz gets out, he remembers the fight visually and that Nappa moved out the way of his attack instead of taking it head on. This is proof he's gotten stronger, and this latest Zenkai only made him more so. He trains twice as hard for this upcoming battle, and when he appears before Nappa, the first thing he says is his scouter must be broken because his power level is scarily close to his own. This gets a chuckle out of Vegeta, which angers the former general even more. He charges up his ki and the two clash their fists, each blow shaking their bodies to the core. This is no longer a beatdown, it's an exchange between equals. Nappa is losing his cool more and more, but all this does is give Raditz openings to land some solid blows. Tired of this, Nappa opens his mouth and fires a break cannon, which Raditz counters with his Saturday Crush, and the two beams collide, causing an explosion that catches both of them in it. They stand across from each other, ready to continue the fight, but Vegeta stops them, saying that's enough for today. He's impressed by Raditz's growth and tells Nappa he better not fall behind, or he'll be the one to die instead. He'll no longer tolerate weakness. With a new grudge against the former runt of the group, Nappa goes off to do some training on his own. While for Raditz, this has become second nature. 3 months would pass and the two would meet up to spar maybe once or twice a week. Vegeta would take notice of their growth, his Saiyan blood wanting to face it himself, so he tells them to attack him with everything they got, together. Confused at first but not wanting to refuse an order, they do as they're told, their teamwork being surprisingly good, but nothing to write home about. Vegeta would win thanks to his overwhelming strength, but this was indeed a good workout for the prince. He realizes now that it may not be long until they catch up, and he'll need to train so that doesn't happen. This puts a smile on his face because if a Saiyan like Raditz can grow this much in close to half a year, then the prince's gain should be enormous. He tells them to prepare because if they aren't ready, he will kill them. This message is enough for Raditz and Nappa to call a temporary truce, and for 3 months they train together, awaiting the day for the prince to return. They would still not be on good speaking terms after all this time, but they would learn from each other's moves. Even though no one said anything, they just picked up on it. With the addition of their rivalry making each other stronger, Vegeta would arrive and no amount of training could prepare them for the prince. The two, after sparring together for so long, are in almost perfect sync. Vegeta sees right through their movements, throwing them around like rag dolls. Tired of the abuse, they nod at each other before firing the combination attack named Saturday Cannon. But Vegeta is ready. He fires his Gallic gun, which engulfs their combined move with ease, leaving the two laying on the ground, barely alive. Not only is he satisfied with the results of his training, he wants to see if the Zenkai they receive now will overpower his natural talent. So he throws him in the healing pod. This is Nappa's first time, and he's astonished at the strength he gets. But Raditz is used to this song and dance by now. The two agree that this power won't be enough alone to defeat Vegeta. They need to learn from their last battle and come up with a plan. The two would train up before their rematch, and things would go much better, surprising the prince, who is getting angry, similar to Nappa when he first found someone who's around his strength. Once he found out these lower Saiyans were injuring him, he launches a Gallic gun with the full intent of killing them. But the two take advantage of his blind rage, dodging the attack simultaneously before firing their signature beams from 2 different sides. This catches Vegeta off guard, causing him to lose the fight. While Nappa looks down on him with a smug look, Raditz picks him up and heads to a nearby healing pod. The former general suggests they leave him to die. They can be the top Saiyans. But Raditz refuses. They only won because they worked together. And he wants to defeat not only Nappa, but Vegeta one day with his own power, to prove he's no longer Raditz the Runts. Nappa screams, "You'll never be able to catch up to him if he gets a Zenkai. A win is a win, every Saiyan knows that." And the two glare at each other, as if another fight is about to break out. But Raditz is the one to break eye contact, walking away, muttering, "Then I'll have to train harder than ever." And this is the end of our temporary truce. With a vein popping on the bald man's head, he reluctantly lets him go. And Vegeta emerges from the healing pod sometime later, saying even though it was 2 versus 1, he shouldn't have lost, and vows to get stronger. The three would end the year with more training, having free-for-all sparring matches now and again. Of course, Vegeta would beat Nappa and Raditz to the point of a Zenkai, but this ironically would allow the two to grasp a victory afterwards, sending Vegeta to the healing pod once again. Although they didn't work together to do so, Nappa took advantage of the fact it was a free-for-all and landed a cheap shot on the prince. A year has passed and Vegeta feels he has reached the power of a Super Saiyan, 170,000. Raditz satisfied with his power of 80,000, and Nappa dissatisfied that his power level of 83,000 is so close to Raditz's. Now that Vegeta thinks he's achieved the legend of Super Saiyan, he no longer wants to follow Frieza's orders. He turns off his scouter, keeping it with him just in case they need to communicate, but this unofficially starts the Saiyan revolt. Knowing they need men, Raditz once again suggests they get his brother Kakarot, but instead of calling it a bad idea, Vegeta recalls he has a weakling brother as well. With a little training, they can prove to be useful lackeys. So the three split up, with Raditz going to Earth, Nappa going to get Tarble, while Vegeta is gonna cause some trouble for the Tyrant. They agree to meet up with Vegeta to help him after training the other Saiyans, but he feels like he won't need the backup. When Raditz arrives on Earth, he's a much different person than in canon, due to being humbled through training and trials, barely being stronger than a Cyberman to surpassing Vegeta's original power level nearly 5 times over. Believing his brother could do the same, Raditz would inform him of the situation and how they plan to defeat Frieza and free the Saiyans once and for all. Goku is excited. Not only does he have a brother, but to know that he's this strong and that Frieza guy is even stronger, he would happily agree to this, and his family and friends would welcome Raditz with open arms. Raditz didn't know much about his parents because he was shipped off as soon as he can walk due to his above than average power level for a Saiyan, but he did tell Goku all he did remember, that he looked like his father and that his mother was one of the few kind-hearted Saiyans. Raditz would not train the same as Nappa. There's no need to be unnecessarily cruel. They train in a healthy way, with communication and plenty of breaks, because rest is key. Their growth will become more beneficial when Raditz mentions planet Vegeta had 10 times more gravity than Earth. Bulma, wanting to help because a brother of Goku is a friend of hers, would make a gravity room for the two, and since Raditz was so powerful, he could withstand a higher gravity level, his max being 90 times. Meanwhile, Dr. Brees would make a big enough ship for them to travel when the day comes to face Frieza, since one pod wouldn't be enough. Goku, not being one to be left behind, would challenge himself to do the same level of gravity training as his brother. And thanks to Senzu beans and Raditz's guidance, he's able to surpass that level of gravity, going as high as 100 times, sometimes even more. His power level skyrockets to 100,000, while Raditz is 120,000. And this is only in a month. The other Z fighters, feeling Goku and his brother's growth, train themselves as well. First at the lookout, then when the two Saiyans are using the gravity room, they take a turn. Of course, only be able to handle around 10 times. This couldn't have happened at a better time because Vegeta contacts them saying he found information on a planet named Namek that has wish-granting orbs called Dragon Balls, and Frieza is on his way there. He beat this information out of Kui, who further explained when one of the soldiers went to invade, they found out about them, but the Namekian soldiers who killed him didn't know the scouters picked up everything when they're turned on. Nappa and Tarble hear this as well, and they all head to Namek, complaining there wasn't nearly enough time to train. The Z fighters, not wanting to pass up this challenge, head into space with Goku and Raditz, thanks to Dr. Brief's recently built ship. That should only take a week to get to their location. Nappa arrives on Tarble's new home, and he was disgusted at how weak the second prince was. A power level of only 1,000? That's worse than the runt was. No wonder the king sent you away, you're an embarrassment. But despite these cruel words, Tarble accepts him with open arms, offering him food and a place to stay, having not seen a Saiyan since Vegeta's destruction. But Nappa isn't here for all that. He explains, "My mission is to train you for the upcoming battle with Frieza." Happy that the few remaining members of his race are standing up to the tyrant, he eagerly agrees, but soon finds out he bit off more than he could chew when a fist comes flying his way before he could even process what was going on. He was sent hurling through a mountain, landing face first in the dirt, barely breathing. Nappa plucks him by the leg and thinks to himself, maybe I should have asked if he had any healing equipment first. Oh well, I'll find out eventually. Tarble wakes up in a panic, not knowing what just happened. He comes out of healing pod, finding himself in a hospital, and staggers to his feet. Out the corner of his eye, through the window, he sees Nappa training outside. Tarble runs to ask him, "Why did you do that?" And Nappa tells him that regular training would take too long. so it's best to just spam Zenkai until you get a high enough level. Tarbo didn't like the idea of being a human punching bag, so he refuses, suggesting they train regularly instead. It may take some time, but he promises to work hard. Nappa thinks about it, but he doesn't like that idea, so he tells him to get ready for round 2. Tarbo once again refuses, but Nappa doesn't give him a choice. He attacks the Saiyan as he walks away, hitting him in the back of the head, knocking him out instantly. Once again, he wakes up, the last experience feeling like a bad dream, but the pain in the back of his head makes him realize it was all real. He goes out the back knowing Nappa can't be reasoned with, only for the bald-headed brute to cut him off, having learned to sense ki after sparring with Raditz, not wanting to rely on the scouters anymore, thinking they give false numbers. He asks Tarbo, "Where are you going?" And he says, with a little bass in his voice this time, "I'm not doing the training." Nappa just laughs before breaking one of his legs with the front kick. "You don't know the position you're in. You're a Saiyan, meaning you fight for the next King Vegeta, which is your brother, without question, without rest." Tarbo wants to know, why are you doing this? Why not just kill me if I'm so reluctant? And he says, "It's because I'm one of the nicer Saiyans. I don't want to kill a fellow member of my race." Tarbo shouts, if this is what it means to be a Saiyan, he'll just kill himself. And Nappa tells him, if you do that, I'll blow up this whole planet. And before Tarbo has time to process what he said, he gets kicked in the face, waking up not long after in the healing part, like deja vu. Tarbo is sweating nervously. Was Nappa serious? No, he could be. He must be bluffing. But then breaking news comes on a nearby TV that a town was completely wiped out and the local military is trying to figure out what happened. Tarbo realizes immediately that this was Nappa's doing. All those people died because of him, but he won't let any more blood fall on his shoulders. He accepts Nappa's training with no complaints for a month straight, each day more brutal than the last. But it soon became apparent halfway through, Tarbo began getting Zenkai fatigue, meaning the amount of power he gets from a Zenkai becomes smaller and smaller before eventually disappearing. His power level capped at around 50,000, while Nappa jumped to 100,000 through training while he was healing. But lucky for Tarbo, his brother called saying they have to go to Namek where Frieza is. Tarbo, hoping that after Frieza is defeated he can put this nightmare behind him, goes into a space pod and heads to the planet. But how did Vegeta get this information in the first place? Well, the answer to that is simple. When he said he was going to cause trouble for Frieza, he wasn't lying. He went to a planet that was just about to be sold, killing all of Frieza's grunts there before announcing it was now under his rule. Of course, this would piss off the tyrant because Vegeta is getting in the way of his business, so he would send Abo and Kata, two powerful soldiers who were just as strong as members of the Ginyu force, to deal with him since they were nearby. But they were not ready for Vegeta, thinking his power level was still 18,000. They were more than shocked to find that his new power level was now 170,000. The two were no better than cannon fodder, being wiped out in the blink of an eye. Vegeta then uses the open channel on the scouter, announcing that he killed Abo and Kata, and Frieza will have to do better than that. He then awaits for an all-out war, but a month passes and nothing. What's going on? He expected at least one ship to come by now. Thankfully, he didn't waste this time, having trained his power level to 220,000. But he still gets in his pod, highly irritated, coming across a ship and raiding it. And this is where he comes across his old buddy Kui and asks why Frieza hasn't come for him. Kui, fearing for his life, explains that Frieza found out about these wish-granting orbs on a planet called Namek, and he focused all his forces on that. Wait a minute, wish-granting orbs? With those, I could become immortal and continue to get stronger for all eternity. He tells his fellow Saiyans the news before heading to Namek himself, and from there is where we officially start part 2. The Z Fighters would arrive on Namek a week after this message. The humans will become stronger thanks to the gravity room and Goku/Raditz's guidance, giving them space to solely train because they are plenty strong enough. Chiaotzu's power level is now 1500 because he would mostly focus on honing his psychic powers, Yamcha 3500, Krillin 4000, and Tien 5000. It's not as high as those Saiyans and their Zenkais, but this is pretty good for the little time they had. When they look on the Dragon Radar received from Bulma, the gang sees that 5 balls are in one location, and they could sense a high power level coming from that direction. Raditz confirms that one of them is indeed Frieza, as a single bead of sweat rolls down his face. But there are also 2 Dragon Balls, each in separate locations. Nothing too threatening near them. With this information, the group decides to split up. Goku and Raditz will go over to Frieza and see if there's any way to secure the Dragon Balls, or at least get information on where Frieza's going to put them, while the other human Z fighters head to get the other 2 Dragon Balls, and boy do they get a pleasant surprise on their first stop. They're greeted by Guru and Nail, informing them of their goal to defeat Frieza. Guru, wanting to protect his planet from the tyrant, who massacred many of his villages already, unlocks all of their potentials. We don't know the actual increase, but Gohan and Krillin went from around 1,000 to over 10,000. So it's safe to say 10 times will be fine. So Chaozu is now 15,000, Yamcha 35,000, Krillin 40,000, and Tien 50,000. After this boost in power, Guru informs them that a village is being attacked right now, and he wants them to save it before things become a bloodbath. Thinking they could at least save some people if they work together, the 4 head to the location, leaving the Dragon Ball with Guru until they return, saying Nail is more than capable of protecting it. Meanwhile, Goku and Raditz arrive on scene with Doria, Zarbon, and Frieza. But the 3 are not going to get away with killing in front of Goku. As soon as Zarbon has a hint of killing intent, Goku blindsides him with a kick to the face. Although Raditz may not agree with his brother's reckless nature, he isn't about to let him fight alone. He throws a power ball in the air, transforming into a great ape, and his power level shoots to over 1 million. Raditz then crashes onto Frieza with the hopes of killing him while off guard, but after a few seconds from underneath his foot, Frieza slowly lifts him before throwing him off and revealing his second form. First Vegeta, and now you. You Saiyans have gotten too comfortable and forgot who the Emperor of the universe is. It's time I show you real pain. But Raditz doesn't let these words get to him. He instead fires a mouth beam that blows away the nearby village, but Frieza flies over it and begins a slugfest with the Great Ape. And despite the size difference, the 2 are evenly matched in strength and speed. While this is going on, Goku uses the chaos to defeat the Burrow with a single net chop, taking his Dragon Balls, and the Namekians take Zarbon's while he's unconscious along with the one they already had, and flee the area. When Frieza sees his precious Dragon Balls flying away and Raditz not letting him chase after, he screams, "You dirty monkey," before transforming into his third form. You Saiyans always become overconfident because you get a little bigger. But just like a hyper dog, if you get fixed, you become much more docile and easy to handle. Frieza says this as he cuts off Raditz's tail before he can even react, reverting him to normal. The tyrant then takes joy in slowly crushing his head beneath his foot. As Raditz struggles to get free, firing blast after blast with no effect, Goku sees his brother in distress and hands over the Dragon Balls he was holding to the Namekians before rushing to help. With Namek's 3 sons behind him, he uses Solar Flare, which makes Frieza stagger off Raditz enough for Goku to swoop in and get him. He immediately hides in the ocean, and since the Namekians destroyed all of Frieza's scouters, he can't sense energy, and the 2 make a clean escape. The tyrant is pissed, especially when he sees Deborah and Zarbon still breathing. After such a failure, he kills the 2 while they're down, and Go calls the Ginyu force to bring in more scouters. When Goku senses Frieza is gone, he goes back on the land and asks Raditz, "Are you okay?" Raditz tells his brother, "I'm fine. We need to go after the Namekians because Frieza won't stop until he gets the Dragon Balls." "I understand that, but the Senzu beings are with the others. We need you at full strength if we want to make a difference," Goku retorts. Raditz, seeing his logic, reluctantly agrees and flies off to where Krillin and the others are. But what these two didn't know is that the human Z fighters are already meeting another group of Saiyans. Krillin and the others arrive at the destroyed Namekian village per Guru's instructions and begin looking for survivors, hoping they aren't too late. But what they find instead is Nappa standing next to Turbo and Vegeta as he holds on to a Dragon Ball. They didn't know who they were at first until Krillin notices they have tails. The whole group lets out a sigh of relief. They must be friends of Raditz. When Nappa asks who they are, they explain, "We're friends of Goku, and we're here to stop Frieza from getting the Dragon Balls." Vegeta asks, "Do you have any Dragon Balls?" But Tien is hesitant to answer, so he instead asks a question of his own. What happened to this village? Vegeta couldn't help but laugh as he says, "Isn't it obvious?" Nappa then smiles, saying, "Tell us where the Dragon Balls are if you don't want the same thing to happen to you." The Z Fighters are now on guard. "Fine, we'll do this the hard way," Nappa says as he puts down his Dragon Ball, and out of nowhere, Krillin is sent flying. The Z Fighters not even realizing what happened. Yamcha, noticing the brute right next to him, uses his Wolf Fang fist while Chaozu holds him down with his psychic powers. Although the move does land, Nappa shrugs it off as he charges up, breaking himself free from Chaozu's hold, blowing him and Yamcha away with sheer power. Tien uses this opportunity to fire his Tri-Beam, which does damage Nappa, but only enough to piss him off. So he breaks one of his arms. With all them beaten in an instant, Vegeta once again asks where the Dragon Balls are, but they all refuse to say anything. Vegeta is starting to get annoyed and tells Nappa to kill one so they know he's serious. Nappa aims his sight on Yamcha as he throws a Bomber DX, but before it could hit, Raditz appears using the last of his strength to knock away the blast. The Z Fighters are happy to see their friend, but Vegeta wants to know, "What are you doing?" Raditz stands up to the prince and tells him, "I won't allow any of them to die." To which Nappa responds, "Who's gonna save them? You?" Before starting one of his famous beatdowns on the runts, which he was enjoying. Raditz would usually be the one winning this fight, but not only did the Powerball take up a lot of energy, but his brawl with Frieza took more out of him than he expected. Krillin finally returns to the battle with a Destructo Disc, but thanks to Vegeta's call out, Nappa was successfully able to dodge. Once again, Chaozu holds Nappa with his psychic powers while Tien and Yamcha attack simultaneously, but they were swatted away once again. But what this did do was buy Krillin enough time to give Raditz a Senzu Bean. Now the Zenkais on Namek were ridiculous due to them coming close to Super Saiyan, and Raditz would be no different. His power level would jump to 2 million. Of course, Nappa and Vegeta would sense this massive power in disbelief. Nappa throws another Bomber DX, but Raditz seemingly disappeared, having made his way all the way over to Tien, giving him a Senzu Bean so he could regrow his arm. He then comments how there's only one being left, and I'm sorry you had to waste it on me. But the group reassures him it's okay. Nappa charges forward feeling insulted, but Raditz doesn't even look at him, instead giving him a backhand that sends the former general into the side of a mountain. Nappa lets out an explosion of energy, refusing to lose to Raditz, anybody but the runts. He calls out a Powerball so he can transform into a great ape, thinking it would give him an advantage, but the difference in power is still over 1 million, so his efforts were useless. He tries firing a mouth beam, but before he can get it off, Raditz kicks him in the abdomen, knocking the wind out of him before blasting him with a Saturday candy, using just enough not to kill him. Although what Raditz wasn't expecting was the Powerball had also turned Vegeta into a great ape, and his power level was very close to his, unlike Nappa. Vegeta looks down at his former subordinate, saying, "You have one last chance to join the right side." But Raditz tells him he already is on the right side. And as the two fight, it doesn't take Raditz long to realize that Vegeta was indeed stronger than him, even if it wasn't by much. But Raditz wasn't the only one who noticed this. So did the Z Fighters. Tien, now at full strength, wants the help, and Krillin is all in as well. So when Vegeta blocks a full power Saturday crush from Raditz, Tien sees his opportunity to use the solar flare, blinding the Great Ape. Not missing a beat, Krillin throws a Destructo Disc, cutting off Vegeta's tail, reverting him to normal. Angry that the humans ruined his battle, he's ready to kill them, but Raditz chops him in the neck before he's able to do so, thanking the group for their help. To make sure things are really over, Krillin also cuts off Nappa's tail. But there's still one Saiyan left, Turbo, who hadn't jumped in this whole time. He didn't even turn into a Great Ape, but even so, the Z Fighters are on guard. But suddenly, he cuts off his own tail, telling them, "I'm not an enemy. In fact, thank you for stopping those two monsters. I want to defeat Frieza, but not for the same reason as them. And if it's not too much to ask, could I join your team?" Though the Z Fighters have no time to answer because it's out of the frying pan into the kitchen. The Ginyu Force has arrived looking for the Dragon Balls in the name of Lord Frieza. After dropping off the new scouters, they split up. Frieza going after the larger group of power levels to personally take back what was stolen from him, while the Ginyu Force goes after the smaller group just in case they have Dragon Balls as well. Though this time it's the Ginyu Force that bites off more than they can chew. The potential unlocked Z Fighters are more than a match. This is also the first fight has on Namek, and he's faster than Birder, flying circles around the blue hurricane, delivering a flurry of blows before vaporizing him with the Gallic gun. Tien overpowers the mighty Raccoon, and thanks to the Sensu Beam making him at full strength, he's able to blast him away with a Tri-Beam. And Raditz is more than a match for both Jace and Ginyu, quickly dispatching Jace. But before he could beat Ginyu, his body freezes as if time itself has stopped for the Saiyan. Goldo has frozen him, which gives Ginyu enough time to switch bodies. Krillin would decapitate Goldo with his Destructo Disc too little too late. The job has already been done. Now Ginyu would not be able to use Raditz's full power, initially only about 10%, but that would be more than enough to handle the remaining Z Fighters with a power level of over 200,000. Ginyu would blast away the unexpected Chaozu, who asked, "Raditz, are you okay?" just to test his power, disappointed at his current strength, thinking that should have killed him. Maybe I just have to get used to this body. So he takes on all the remaining Z Fighters at once. Without Chaozu there to hold him down, even for a moment, he zips around the battlefield, toying with his opponents as he feels his power level rising. Things are looking grim and they don't know what to do. Nyancha suggests giving the last Sensu Beam to Turbo in hopes he can gain a power boost to win. But Turbo tells him that his power from Zenkai have diminished, so even if he did get one, it wouldn't be enough to beat Ginyu. And that's when Vegeta mutters, "If you heal me, I should be enough." Krillin is the first to refuse, but Tien knows if they don't take this risk, they all die. Krillin, hearing this, reluctantly gives the prince the beam, which heals him instantly. As he stands, he begins laughing maniacally before charging up his power to 4 million, shocking everyone. "I've done it. I've reached the level of Super Saiyan." He flies at Ginyu, who's unable to stop his assault. After he's done letting off some pent-up aggression from earlier, he charges at the weak Ginyu, full speed, hoping to crush his body, saying, "This is what happens to those who betray their prince." But Captain Ginyu wanted this. He screams, "Change now," hoping to get a new body, but Raditz jumps in the way, returning everything to normal. When Ginyu tries to switch again, Chaozu throws a frog in his path as payback for blasting him earlier, ending the threat of Ginyu once and all. But the threat of Vegeta is still at large. "Thank you for healing me, but I still want those Dragon Balls. Now take me to them or else Raditz dies." Tired after constant battles, the Z Fighters agree on this condition, not wanting their new friend to die. He also adds that they have to take Nappa with them since he was so loyal. And with that, they all head to Guru's house. When they arrive, they're shocked to find Goku being held by the neck of third form Frieza. The Namekians he saved earlier cowering in fear behind him. Frieza greets Vegeta saying, As thanks for bringing the last Dragon Ball, I'll make your death painless. But Vegeta says, you're the one who will be handing over your Dragon Balls, or you'll face the legend you've always feared, a Super Saiyan. Those words just made Frieza sick of this whole rebellion, and he fires a flurry of death beams at Vegeta, but he knocks them all away before punching the tyrant clear through Guru's house. Vegeta blitzed after him, not giving the tyrant a chance to rest, but this doesn't last long. Frieza has had enough of this and turns into his final form. I think I've been patient long enough. He stops the prince mid-assault, swatting him away with his tail into the ocean. Vegeta pops out furious, charging up a gallant gun, only for it to be kicked away. While the battle between these two is underway, the Z-Fighters try to figure out what to do. They're all out of senzu beans, but there's still hope. The elder from the village Goku saved begins healing him. I don't know how much this will help. Even after Guru unlocked his potential, he was no match for Frieza. But as long as he has the will to fight, I will help any way I can. Because he's older and more experienced than Dende, this healing is almost instant. Goku jumping up, feeling stronger than ever with a power level of 6 million. He rushes to the battle without saying a word, stopping Frieza from firing another death beam at Vegeta. I thought you learned your lesson, I guess. But before Frieza could finish his sentence, Raditz drop kicks him. With his new power level of 7 million, this unexpected attack sends the tyrant flying into a mountain. Krillin, have the Namekian heal Nappa as well. We'll need all the help we can get, Raditz orders. Krillin doesn't doubt his new friend for a second and brings Nappa over to the elder. Frieza burst out the mountain, annoyed that these Saiyans are buzzing around like flies, only for Nappa to fire his Bomber DX from above. Already on guard, Frieza is able to knock this away, but the others bomb rush him at once. Frieza barely dodging, and when Nappa joins in, he's had enough. He lets out another burst of energy that scatters them in 4 different directions. This burst of power is enough to knock out both Vegeta and Nappa. That's it. You all die, starting with you. Frieza throws a ball of energy at Raditz, but Yamcha jumps in front of it, sacrificing his life. Raditz can't believe this just happened. Why would he sacrifice himself for someone he just met a month ago? But his thought process is interrupted by Goku's steadily rising ki, because Yamcha has always been a kind person. And with that, Goku has done it. He's actually achieved Super Saiyan. With anger in his voice, he tells Krillin to wish back Yamcha with the Dragon Balls and not to worry about Frieza. The tyrant doesn't like to be looked down on, but this fight with Goku is more than one-sided. And to make matters worse, the dragon is right in front of him. For years, he screams, "If I can't have the Dragon Balls, no one can," and throws a death ball into Namek's core. Goku calmly tells him to use the second wish to teleport everyone to Earth while he finishes Frieza, which he does just in time to find a pod that leads him to Yardrat. With everyone now on Earth and one wish remaining, they want to use it to bring back Goku, thinking he's dead, but it turns out he survived, telling them to hold off until he finishes training. Seeing this as Goku being Goku, they all agree, instead using the last wish to restore Namek. They then gather Earth's Dragon Balls to wish the Namekians back home. But before they leave, Krillin suggests they teleport their planet away as soon as they can so Frieza's men won't be able to find them. With this in mind, the Elder thanks the Z-Fighters, hoping to repay his debt to them one day. Vegeta and Nappa wake up soon after, furious the Namekians are gone, thinking they missed their chance at immortality, not knowing about Earth's Dragon Balls. But even though they're upset, they don't dare try killing anyone with Raditz around, instead accepting their lives on Earth, for now, at least until they're able to achieve Super Saiyan as well. Tarbo uses Raditz's space pod to head back home like he wanted, done with fighting, and 1 year after the destruction of Namek, the Z-Fighters sense 2 massive keys approaching Earth that turn out to be King Cold and Mecha Frieza, who arrive to exact revenge on the Saiyans. Wait a minute, where's the Super Saiyan? His expression turns sour as he scans the Z-Fighters, not seeing Goku in the crowd. Raditz steps up, "My brother isn't here, but until he shows, I won't allow you to do what you want on this planet." Frieza lets out a chuckle. "Fine, I suppose we can kill some time. Monkeys, be sure to entertain me until the Super Saiyan shows. Raditz accepts the challenge with the Saturday crush, but the tyrant doesn't even flinch, only smirks. Raditz charges forward, stringing together a flurry of punches and kicks until Frieza gets bored and tosses him to the side. Vegeta, are you and your servant just gonna sit back in fear? Was all that talk about pride just empty words? This angers the prince, who charges up a gallant gun next to Nappa's break cannon. The white and purple energies swirling together into one, but with a flick of his wrist, Frieza dispersed the blast. I guess I expected too much from you, Saiyans. I think it will be much more fun to see Goku's face when he sees all his friends dead. He charges up a death beam, but then suddenly his hand is held up by somebody behind him. The tyrant turns around and sees Super Saiyan Goku. If you don't leave Earth now, I'll have no choice but to kill you. Frieza snaps. He tries attacking Goku alongside his father. The two fly up in the air, combining their energies into one massive death ball. The only one dying today is you. But Goku doesn't seem fazed. He takes a deep breath before charging his signature Kamehameha. The beam effortlessly pushes the death ball back onto King Ko and his son, engulfing the two in their own attack. With the threat over, Goku reverts back to base and is swarmed by his friends, who are happy to see him. Everyone, that is, except Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz. Raditz doesn't say anything. He's stuck in deep thought on how he would catch up to his brother now. He snapped back to reality when Vegeta and Nappa step up to the group. Kakarot, is it? You'll be glad to know I'm giving a personal invitation to join the Saiyan army. But Goku steps between the two. I have no reason to join you, so I think I'll pass. But I wouldn't mind sparring for a bit. So you choose these twerps over your own people? Let it go, Nappa. A Saiyan only recognizes power, so we'll have to force him to our side. Super Saiyan or not, don't forget, I'm the prince of all Saiyans. It's my destiny to surpass all lower class warriors. With that, the two fly off. Everyone else splits up soon after. Raditz goes to Dr. Briefs and asks him to increase the amount of gravity to 300 times. Dr. Briefs is shocked at the request, but reluctantly accepts. The Saiyan then begins his torturous training. Even the simplest exercises took everything he had to complete, but he stuck through it, day after day, trying to get his body acclimated. One day, when his back is pushed against the wall by Dr. Brief's robots, he lets out a burst of energy that destroys the entire gravity room. Bulma is the first to arrive, immediately digging him out of the debris and taking him inside to apply first aid. Bulma screams, "Okay, it's been a whole year since Goku returned from space, and you haven't visited him or his family once, instead practically living in that gravity room. Did you two get into a fight on Namek or something?" Raditz, dumbstruck by how aggressive she was, answers honestly, "Because I need to get stronger. It's my fault Yamcha died on Namek. I'm the reason everyone went there in the first place. It was Nappa and Vegeta who beat them to get the Dragon Balls, and to top it all off, I was unable to protect them. They helped me so much on Namek. All my victories were because of them, someone they only knew for a month. A Saiyan like me doesn't deserve their kindness." Bulma tightens his bandages to a painful degree. Idiot. They're not expecting anything except for you to stop pounding in the gravity room and hang out with them. Later tonight, we're going over Goku's for dinner. I'll invite everyone. Raditz doesn't even get to finish his sentence as he's dragged along, but surprisingly enough, it isn't awkward at all. All the Z fighters are having a good time. It's not too uncommon for people to disappear during training trips. Gohan is glad to see his uncle, telling him all the new things he learned. Chi-Chi makes an extra extravagant meal, and Goku notices how much stronger he's gotten, asks if they can spar together like old times. Feeling comfortable, he apologizes to the human Z fighters for the events on Namek, but they tell him it's okay. He did more than he thinks, saving them from Nappa initially, even if Vegeta got the jump on them thanks to Ginyu. With this heavy sense of guilt off his shoulders, he thanks Bulma, owing her a great debt. This would be the start of their relationship between the two, which would develop over time, but would become official until the death of Goku by the heart virus. This tragic loss of someone they both deeply cared about made them realize how important they are to each other. Though they're unable to spend much time together because when Vegeta and Nappa senses Goku's ki disappearing, they confront their former comrade. Looks like the Super Saiyan is no more. Shame I couldn't test my power against his, Vegeta says in disappointment. With him gone, there's no reason for us to stay on this worthless rock. Look, Runt, the prince is giving you one last chance to rejoin the Saiyan army. If you refuse this time, you'll be blown up alongside this planet. Raditz responds by going into a fighting stance. Wrong answer. Vegeta appears behind him, sending him clear through Capsule Corp. He's stopped by Nappa's fist when he pops out, and the two Saiyans team up on Raditz. Still, the Runt isn't giving up without a fight. When he sees the chance, he kicks Nappa away, switching the battle to a one-on-one with Vegeta, to which he has the upper hand thanks to the gravity training showing its results. Still, Nappa doesn't stay out the fight for long, launching a Bomber DX at a distracted Raditz, giving Vegeta the chance to land a few more good hits. The two then continue their combined assault until Raditz could barely stand. I'll take great joy in killing all these earthlings who played a part in cutting off my tail. Nappa picks up Raditz by the hair and then begins taunting the defeated Saiyan. Those words echo in Raditz's mind, followed by the memories of everyone he's met on Earth, Krillin, Chi-Chi, Gohan, and finally Bulma. The thought of losing them was something he refused to accept. He pushes back these thoughts with pure power, which covers his body in a yellow aura. He had done it. Raditz has become a Super Saiyan. Nappa looks at him in disbelief, but Raditz uses this moment to shoot a ki blast through his chest. Vegeta tries firing a Gallic gun, but Raditz doesn't let him, appearing behind him, wiping him away with a single ki blast. With that, Raditz powers down. I saved this planet you cared so much for. He smiles at the sky, hoping his brother was looking down at him, but Raditz couldn't catch a break. 6 months after the death of Vegeta and Nappa, Bulma hears on the radio that an island near South City was being destroyed. He heads over there first while Bulma calls the others, and it's there he comes across 19 and 20. The brother, Dr. Gero says. Where is Goku? That's none of your concern. Your destruction ends here. Gero laughs. Don't think you can defeat us. We've analyzed you and the others and know just how strong you are. As soon as he finishes his sentence, 19 lunges forward, grabbing Raditz by the arms and begins draining his energy. Raditz notices the drain but doesn't worry. To counter this, he turns Super Saiyan, this giving him the power to break free of the grasp and destroy the android with a simple ki blast. But when he looks around, Gero is gone, having not expected such a transformation since he stopped sending the Z Fighters right before Namek. Using the fact they can't sense his energy to his advantage, he escapes to awaken androids 17 and 18 to handle the situation, but this would backfire, they instead killing their creator before leaving the base. Again, the Z-Fighters can't sense the androids, so they're able to go all the way to Goku's house undetected. They knock on the door, asking Chi-Chi a simple question. Where's Goku? Chi-Chi, thinking these are just old friends from his Dragon Ball days, tell him that they just missed the funeral. The two androids look at each other and then smile, thanking Chi-Chi for the information before walking away. The two fly off and begin destroying the closest city, attracting the attention of the Z-Fighters who try to stop them. But even with the help of Super Saiyan Raditz, they still have no chance. And just like that, all of them were gone. Bulma tries using the Dragon Balls, but the Pilaf gang had already wished for youth, so as of now, they are stone. Was the Earth doomed? No. From the shadows, someone saw the events played out. A warrior who's been on Earth the whole time. His name is none other than Piccolo. Quick rundown on where he's been. The answer is simple. Training. He can sense ki and knows how strong his opponents are, i.e. Raditz with the initial power level of 80,000 while he only had 400. After a year of training, his power level would still only be 4,000, so he continue increasing his power until this day. Sensing ki is massively stronger than his, dropping like flies. Kami then talks to him telepathically, giving him the instructions on what to do. In my other half, this world is in danger and his fighters are gone. If you want to survive, you must train the son of Goku since his hidden power is unbelievable. Piccolo ponders the idea. He doesn't want to listen to his other half, but there is no point in ruling the world with no one on it, and there are positives to this plan. He could turn the son of his enemy into his servant, and if what Kami said is true, become even more powerful as he does so. Fine, I'll agree to your plan for now. With a scowl, Piccolo heads to Son Goku's house and kidnaps Gohan right in front of Chi-Chi, the woman having lost her husband, and now Son breaks down into tears. Now Gohan is 9, almost 10, so he isn't a crybaby, but he's not a fighter either. Nobody forces him to do anything he doesn't want to, until Piccolo. He would leave him in the wild until he thinks he's ready for sparring. During this year of training, the two would bond. Gohan would explore the cities the androids destroyed, asking if the world will return to normal once we beat the androids. Piccolo scoffs, "It won't return to normal. It'll be under new management." Gohan laughs at his answer. "You're not a bad guy, Mr. Piccolo. No use pretending." Piccolo gets angry, telling him, "I guess training isn't hard enough. Expect much worse tomorrow." While the two would train, Bulma made it her mission to gather the Dragon Balls. She would get a total of 5 before a big problem popped up. The last 2 were in the hands of 17 and 18. The androids, having made it a game to look for the Dragon Balls in the cities they destroyed, wanted to wish for a huge boat. When Kami finds out, he informs Piccolo the next step in their plan. At the moment, the two are not strong enough physically or mentally to survive in the time chamber. But once they are ready, that would be the edge needed to beat the androids once and for all. But he wouldn't tell him the name or location of the lookout or the time chamber. Simply saying, "I'll show you a place where you can get much stronger." Not quite trusting Piccolo, but he could see him opening up to Gohan and hopes he can change for the better. 5 years later, things turn bad. 17 and 18 had found the Dragon Radar the Red Ribbon Army used to use, and now knows the remaining 5 Dragon Balls are somewhere in West City. The device is stationary and can't zoom in, but they know the general area. Gohan, not wanting anyone else he knows to die, and sick of just sitting back doing nothing, heads straight there. Piccolo calls him a fool and follows him behind. They come across the 2 androids leveling the city, racing to see who finds the balls first. Gohan and Piccolo come across 17, and even though they ambush him, they're unable to land a blow on the android, even after working together. He's doing so because he doesn't want to lose the Dragon Ball in the scuffle. Annoyed they're getting in the way of his hunt, he angrily kicked Gohan away, which is the hardest the young man was ever hit. The wind was completely knocked out of him. "You're in the way. Could you die?" 17 fires a power blitz at Gohan, who struggles to stand. Piccolo jumps in the way of the blast, sacrificing himself. Why? Because I couldn't just watch my first friend die before my eyes. With tears streaming down his face, Piccolo dies, which not only kills Kami as well, but turns the Dragon Balls into stone. As Gohan hangs his head over his deceased friend, Android 17 is upset that the Dragon Balls turned to stone. "You ruined my fun. I hope you're ready to die for real this time." But 17's anger couldn't hold a candle to Gohan's, who now has no way to bring back the people lost. His emotions flare, transforming him into a Super Saiyan. He concentrates all his power into a single Maseko boosted by his rage. This engulfs 17, but all it does is tatter his clothes. 17 is ready to kill, but Gohan is gone. If that attack didn't work, he knew this fight was lost. He has to train more. Bulma would create him an improved gravity room, which would go up to 400 times, and he spends most of his days training alone there, since Kami never disclosed the location of the time chamber. But Gohan would take this job of saving the Earth too seriously, never giving his body the time to rest, meaning no more Zenkais, constantly fighting the androids when he thinks he has the upper hand, only to lose for over a decade. That is until Bulma reveals to him the time machine, which they can use to go back and hopefully find a way to stop the androids once and for all. With this, we head into the present timeline. Vegeta, are you and your server just gonna sit back in fear? Was all that talk about pride just empty words? Mind if I join in the fun? Our time traveler interrupts the fight with a cocky smile. "And just who are you?" Vegeta asks a question everyone was wondering. "How about, if you can survive this attack, I'll tell you." He powers up to Super Saiyan and begins charging the Maseko. Frieza freaks out at the transformation, having flashbacks of Goku, and starts firing a flurry of ki blasts at him, but to no effect. Having had enough of this mysterious fighter's cocky smile, he lets out his most powerful blast, leaving nothing but a crater. "I was just warming Before Frieza could finish, Gohan appears behind the two, unleashing his Maseko, killing them both at the same time. Though the threat is gone, everyone continues to stare, just wondering, who is he? Powering down from Super Saiyan, our time traveler turns around with a more genuine smile. Why are you guys looking at me like I'm some sort of stranger? Gohan? Raditz is the first to notice, making everyone else realize at the same time. They happily greet him, asking why he's so much older. He tells them, long story short, I time travel, and I'll go into more detail when my father arrives in a few hours. To which he does as he stated. He then explains, in 3 years, you all die by the hands of 2 monstrous androids, except you, father, who died 6 months prior due to a heart virus. That's why I brought you this medicine that would cure you when it happens. My timeline is already doomed, but I do my best to make sure this one doesn't turn out the same. And to do that, I'll need to stay here and train 2 more people. Gohan starts to fly off, but then he remembers one last thing. Oh yeah, to save us some time, Uncle Raditz apologizes to everyone for what happened on Namek. Stuck with this bombshell, Raditz has no choice but to explain his feelings of helplessness, only for everyone to tell him it's okay, just like the original timeline. But unlike the original, Vegeta and Nappa have a different conversation. You saw that, right, Vegeta? Yes. This means the legend doesn't just apply to one Saiyan. All of us can become one. This shouldn't be a problem for the prince. I expect you to keep up, Nappa. Gohan soon arrives at his past house, explaining to his mom that he came from the future to train himself. Chi-Chi refuses, but with the promise he would continue his studies, future Gohan is allowed to train present Gohan, and their first stop is none other than Piccolo. Gohan reassures him he's a friend, a comment that gets scoffed off from the former Demon King. Piccolo takes this as a challenge and blasts him with a demon wave, only for Gohan to shoo it away like a fly. You should know you're outmatched, not just against me, but your rival Goku. But I'm here to help. I'll train you for 3 years along with this boy to make you just as strong as Goku. After that, you can use that power however you want. Not sensing any malice in his ki, Piccolo accepts. And with that, everyone's paired up for training. Vegeta and Nappa have the goal of achieving Super Saiyan, same with Raditz and Goku, while future and present Gohan bond with Piccolo as they get stronger. Future Gohan is also happy he gets to spend time with Piccolo once again. 3 years pass in a flash and the androids arrive. Knowing where the androids would be, but not when, the Z-Fighters wait on the island's arrival. Yamcha is the first to die, but luckily Goku, Raditz, and Krillin come with the Senzu bean to fix that hole in his chest. Thinking 19 and 20 are the androids future Gohan was talking about, the 3 prepare for battle. Goku goes up first, but against Android 19 and his heart virus, he isn't doing too well. That is until this version of Raditz reveals he learned to turn Super Saiyan in the 3-year time skip, defeating 19 very similarly to his future counterpart, while Yamcha flies Goku home, and just like his future counterpart, he allows Jiro to escape. Vegeta and Nappa arrive soon after. Raditz ignores the two and flies around looking for Jiro, Bulma having told everyone where his lab should be, but they don't make it in time. Android 17, 18, and 16 are activated, though Vegeta and Nappa aren't scared. Standing side by side, the two turn Super Saiyan in unison. If a low-class warrior could achieve the form, then an elite like me would make it child's play. That is how I achieved it. And the desire not to fall behind, I also became a Super Saiyan. Now, no one can get in our way. Nappa walks towards Android 18 and pats her in a disrespectful way. Android 18 does not seem amused. She grabs his hand and slowly twists it. Nappa tries breaking free with a kick, but 18 blocks it and with one swift fluid motion, breaks the leg he was standing on. Nappa grovels in pain, not knowing what to do with his inward bent leg. Vegeta charges forward, but his arm is quickly broken as well. Future Gohan arrives just in time with Piccolo, and alongside Raditz, the 3 try attacking together, but are blindsided by 17, who beats them all with ease. That was no fun. Let's find Goku. Android 18 and 16 agree with 17's plan. Krillin tries stopping them, but 18 just gives him a kiss and calls him cute before leaving. With the help of the Senzu beans, Nappa's leg and Vegeta's arm are healed, but their prides are not. They fly off a rage at these events. Gohan feels defeated After 3 years of training, they still weren't enough. He could even help his younger self achieve Super Saiyan. But Goku has been cured from his heart virus and assures him there's a way to get much stronger. The time chamber. Gohan is astonished and wants to find out what this place is, and on the way there, they pick up Vegeta and Nappa since they can all use the help. When they arrive on the lookout, Kami is shocked to see Piccolo, but Gohan vouches for him. Kami then tells Gohan, the androids are not the only threat. There is one much greater that you cannot handle. But if I were to become whole again, maybe. What are you implying, old man? If we fuse, our powers will be enough to defeat every threat on this earth. If you've really changed, you would accept this. No way. Why should I rejoin you? Why not you rejoin with me since I'm younger? Before this back and forth could continue, Gohan slams his head on the ground, bowing as low as he could. Please have Piccolo fuse with you. I promise he won't do anything to harm this world. And if for some reason he is still evil, I will devote my life to stopping him. Kami lets out a heavy exhale. I hope you understand the burden you just bared. And with a flash of light, the two become one. Piccolo now even stronger than a Super Saiyan. But in return, the Dragon Balls will turn to stone. This power is amazing. I'll need to test it out on someone. Everyone on the lookout tenses up at this statement except Gohan. But unknown to them, Piccolo was actually scanning the earth to find Cell. Perfect. He flies off. With Piccolo handling that, the Saiyans split off into groups to train in the time chamber. Vegeta goes in with Nappa, of course, but Goku insists on going in with present Gohan after seeing how strong he's gotten in 3 years, which leaves Raditz with future Gohan to go in together. On Earth, Piccolo runs across Imperfect Cell and the power difference is huge. Piccolo is able to hold his own against the bio-android without even taking off his weighted clothes. But Cell manages to escape with the solar flare. As Piccolo looks for him, he comes across 17, 18, and 16. He challenges 17 to a battle and the two would exchange blows evenly, but 17's infinite stamina means he would soon be at an advantage. But Cell comes to crash the party, having grown stronger after absorbing more cities. Android 16 would try to defend his friends, but Cell would get the drop on them and absorb 17, becoming semi-perfect Cell. 16 now having no way of fighting back. Though, he wouldn't have to. Nappa and Vegeta have come out the time chamber and are ready for revenge. Semi-perfect Cell would be no match against grade 2 Vegeta, who knocks him around the small island, until he tells him, I can get stronger if you let me absorb 18. Wanting to know just how strong he is, Vegeta allows this. Nappa not stopping him like Trunks did, thinking even if Vegeta has trouble, if they work together, it'll be no problem. Which means it will be much easier for him to become perfect. But once he becomes perfect, reality sets in. Cell is manhandling both a grade 2 Vegeta and Nappa, but the world isn't doomed, thanks to Nappa. A little more time. If I just had a little more time, you'd be dust. Those words piqued Cell's interest. The desire to see just how strong the Z-Fighters can get is the reason he'll host the Cell games. Later that day, Goku and present Gohan come out the time chamber as grade 4s. Their massive power is felt by everyone on the lookout. The first thing Goku does is get a Guardian of Earth. He uses instant transmission to find new Namek to go ask for a replacement. The person who volunteers to come back with him is Mori, the elder that healed him on old Namek. If this is how I repay my debt to you, then so be it. I'll gladly spend the rest of my days serving this world. Mori recreates the Dragon Ball, now allowing 3 wishes instead of 1. With Dragon Balls taken care of, Goku heads to Korn and charges up in front of him to see who was stronger. But halfway through, Korn tells him that Cell was much more powerful. Though everyone thinks that this was him at his full power, but even then he outclassed everyone else on Earth. With these factors in mind, future Gohan and Raditz head into the time chamber with a clear goal. Future Gohan is eager to train, but Raditz tells him to relax. Rest is just as important as training, and you need to realize that. So for the first while, that's what we're gonna do. Future Gohan is impatient. Why? Why wait? This must be the room Kami was preparing me and Piccolo for. If he would have just told us, the androids would have been finished. And how is training non-stop done for you? Your growth has been stunted because of this mindset. Same thing happened with an old comrade named Tarbo. Your father grew twice as strong as him in the same amount of time with proper guidance. You'll save your timeline, but to do that, you have to take care of yourself first. I just feel like it's my fault Piccolo is gone, so it's my duty to avenge him. But if anyone would understand, it's you. Yeah, but as the others told me, it's not our fault. The uncle and nephew's relationship strengthened greatly as they tell each other stories. This would help with training after the rest period. They come out the time chamber as grade 4s around the same strength as Goku and present Gohan. This level of power pisses off both Vegeta and Nappa, who don't understand why they came out so weak. It must be because they train with half-breeds, and I got stuck with a useless warrior like you, who was unconscious for more than half the time in the chamber. I'm sorry, Prince. I tried my best to keep up, but you were just so powerful. Enough excuses. We're heading back in, and don't expect me to hold back. While those two head in, Goku, the two Gohans, and Raditz train and rest together for the upcoming Cell games. The day of the tournament arrives, and Goku would be the first to fight Cell. The two would seem evenly matched, but Goku knows that Cell was holding back. But there is someone who could put up an even better fight than him, and that's present Gohan, telling him he has a hidden power that would greatly surpass Cell. Cell is interested, but Raditz speaks up. If anyone should fight, it's this version of Gohan. He's older and more experienced. Raditz, you don't understand. Our Gohan is not a fighter. Raditz interrupts his brother. Plus, if you talk about what I think you are, this future version has the same hidden power waiting to come out. He looks over to his future nephew. Show us that your timeline will be fine. With a smile, Gohan heads towards Cell. Hopefully, this is the power needed to save both worlds. Gohan charges up, digging deep inside him to find the potential Raditz believes in. The memories of his destroyed world, his version of Piccolo, and the peaceful times he had in this timeline fill his head until it erupts in a burst of yellow aura and electricity. Cell is ecstatic to face this power, but Gohan doesn't share his enthusiasm. I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to destroy you. He charges up a full power Maseko that Cell eagerly takes on with the Kamehameha, but the winner is obvious. With an image of Piccolo behind him, the battle is over in an instant. He then looks up in the sky and says, all road is next. With Cell defeated, Gohan prepares to head back to the future. He says goodbye to his family and friends as Piccolo gives him a glare from a distance. When he returns, 17 or 18 are easy work, along with imperfect Cell 3 years later. But back in the present timeline, Vegeta isn't happy with how the Son family is always getting ahead of him. He swears to defeat each and every one of them, no matter the cost. With the defeat of Cell and future Gohan returning to his time, peace has returned to the present timeline, but it would still be hectic because not only did Goku have a son named Goten, but Raditz also had a son with Bulma named Trunks around the same time. Those two would be raised with an insane amount of love. Goten showed great potential at a young age, but unlike Gohan, he was not a crybaby and he didn't want to become a scholar. So Chi-Chi let him train with his dad whenever they had some free time at the ripe age of 4. Goten would love learning new things from his dad. Proper ki control, which means he learned how to not only fly, but become the youngest Super Saiyan at only 5. Same would be the case for Trunks. Raditz would train his boy at 400 times gravity, and when Trunks found out Goten turned Super Saiyan, he also strived to achieve the form by 5. Whenever the cousins met, they would always fight one another to see who got stronger. It was a constant back and forth with Goten winning one day and Trunks winning the next. Goku and Raditz would see this amazing growth and not only come up with the idea of teaching them grade 4, but switching up teachers. So 1 month Raditz would teach and spar with the boys, and the next Goku would. This would keep them on their toes and things fresh. And as to not fall behind and get stronger themselves, Goku and Raditz would not only spar each other when they're not teaching the boys, but also spar against the Super Saiyan toddlers in their base for a good workout. That is until Goten and Trunks turned 6, and Gohan also noticed the growth. If I don't start training again, they'll surpass me by next year. And with that, the whole family is training together and the results would be ridiculous. ridiculous. Though even with this year of training, Gohan would look on with envy when Goku and Raditz went all out as Super Saiyan 2s, the teen not learning how to do it in this timeline. But as he ponders what he needs to do to get stronger, he gets a tap on the shoulder from the Supreme Kai and Kibito. Do you mind if we have a word? Because of all of your high power levels, I believe a threat called Majin Buu will soon be coming. Gohan looks at the Kai in confusion. But in a faraway desert area, Babidi is setting up his base alongside Dabura and his minions. But by pure coincidence, he does so close to where Vegeta and Nappa have been staying. Get lost if you don't want trouble. Nappa commands, but Babidi shoos him away. Get rid of the locals, will you? Pui Pui walks up with confidence, only for Nappa without hesitation to blast him away. I'm not going to ask again. Nappa readies himself. Interesting. Minions, release Yakon. Babidi orders as the green beast is set free from his holding, drooling at the mouth for his prey. He pounces on Nappa only for the Saiyan brute to knock him on the ground with ease. Feeling the difference in power with that hit, the beast started to absorb his ki. Nappa notices this and cranks things up to Super Saiyan, causing Yakon's stomach to expand as his insides glow yellow. Wanting to finish this off, Nappa becomes a Super Saiyan 2, which overwhelms the beast enough for him to throw a Bomber DX inside his mouth, causing him to explode. Both Pui Pui and Yakon have been defeated, but the power this one produced was over 6,000 kilos. Majin Buu is even closer to being revived. Dabura, give them a little push. The Demon King steps up with a smile. You're even stronger than Cell was. This should be a good brawl. And with that statement from Nappa, the two exchange blows. The fight is somewhat even, but Dabura tries tipping the scales with his sword, although he's unable to hit the brute, who's quicker than he appears. Seeing an opening, Nappa breaks the sword in two before sending Dabura flying into Babidi's base, followed by a Bomber DX. As the smoke fills the area, Nappa powers down only to be hit by Dabura's spit, the technique slowly turning him to stone. To think, even with Master Babidi's magic, there would be those who match my power. Unfortunately for you, I can't allow someone like yourself to live. Dabura is about to kick Nappa's statue, but is stopped by Vegeta. Fool, you let your guard down. Now I have to clean up your mess. Dabura spits at Vegeta, who dodges with ease. If you think you could beat me as well, you're sorely mistaken. The prince powers up the Super Saiyan 2 and fires a point-blank Big Bang attack that wipes Dabura off the face of the earth. When this happens, Nappa returns to normal. Impossible. My greatest warrior defeated? But I'm so close to reviving Buu. I have no choice. Those two have immense evil in their hearts. This should work. Babidi takes a risk, using his magic to try and control Vegeta. This causes the prince's darkest memories to fill his head. The humiliation of losing to Raditz the Runt on Namek. The shame he brought on his race when Kakarot became the first Super Saiyan instead of him. His half-breed son achieving a level beyond the legend. This shouldn't be happening. He should be at the top. He is Vegeta the Fourth, something these low-class warriors need to be reminded of. And with that thought, Vegeta succumbs to the Majin transformation. So this is what the demon was talking about when he mentioned Babidi's magic. Vegeta gets a feel for his increase in power. Impressive. With you, we can gather the energy we need. First things first, kill your friend. Babidi happily points to Nappa, only to be confused moments later when Vegeta doesn't listen. My subordinate here would be a great addition to your cause of reviving Buu. I feel it would be in your best interest to give him the mark as well. A bead of sweat trickles down Babidi's face. What's going on? It's obvious he's under my control, but for some reason, he's not listening. But if he wants to help revive Buu, it's best to just do what he says. For now. With a flick of his wrist, Babidi also gives Nappa the Majin mark. The brute smiles at his increase in power, eager to test it out. What's the plan, Vegeta? I think we should pay Raditz and Kakarot a little visit. And with that exchange of dialogue, the two fly off, not taking long to arrive at the front door of Goku's house. Outside was Gohan and Videl, who's trying to learn how to fly. Gohan notices the two high power levels in front of him clearly had murderous intent. What are you two doing here? Calm down, half-breed. We aren't here for you. Where is your father? Why do you need to know? Gohan gets in a slight fighting stance, but an irritated Nappa fires a ki blast at Videl, who's barely flown out the way thanks to the speed of Super Saiyan Gohan. Mutt, I believe the prince asked you a question. Next time you don't answer, the girl dies. Anger begins swelling up inside of Gohan. Do you really think I'll allow you to harm Videl? That isn't what I wanted to hear. Appearing behind Videl almost instantly, Nappa is ready to strike downward, only to be stopped by the sheer output of power that Gohan releases. Sparks of electricity surround his monstrous yellow aura. Nappa tries to attack once again, but is stopped by Gohan, who's blinded by rage. This brute is in disbelief. He lets out a flurry of blows that are all stopped with no effort by Gohan, who sends him flying with a simple ki blast. Nappa lays on the ground defeated as Babidi looks through the crystal ball in amazement. Incredible. Vegeta, if we take this energy, Buu's revival will be now. That may be the only way to get Kakarot's brat out of the way. Vegeta grips his fist. Nappa, now. Vegeta says as he charges forward with Babidi's energy grabbing device. Gohan was ready to retaliate, but suddenly his body stopped moving long enough for Nappa to fire a break cannon at his back and grab him from behind while injured. This lets Vegeta slowly take his energy until the team reverts back to base, passing out from the power loss. With that, Nappa and Vegeta fly back to Babidi. As Videl thanks the young boy for saving her life, the Supreme Kai comes for the shadows alongside the rest of the Son family to heal Gohan. My apologies for not coming out sooner. Babidi moved faster than I expected and I couldn't pass up this opportunity. But with your energy, we'll be able to find his lair before Buu is revived, defeating him once and for all. Raditz scowls. To think those two gave in to power just for a rematch. It looks like it was a mistake for us to let them live, brother. Yeah, we'll have to settle things once and for all, Goku adds. I'm coming with you guys. If Buu is as dangerous as Shin says he is, the Earth could be doomed. We're coming too, Goten shouts, but Gohan shakes his head. I need you two to protect Videl while we're away. This is important to me, so I'm counting on you guys. Hearing the sincerity in his voice, Trunks and Goten accept the job as the three adults fly off with Shin and Kibito. It doesn't take long for the trio to arrive in front of Buu's cocoon since Babidi's minions were already defeated by Vegeta. This is it. We can stop him right here and now, Shin happily announces, causing Babidi to get visibly angry. Do whatever it takes to revive Buu. Vegeta accepts the order and gives Babidi the energy needed before he charges up his final flash. Raditz steps forward and counters with the Saturday Crush. The beams explode on impact, and the two charge at each other where the explosion took place. Taking advantage of the confusion, Goku flies up and aids a Kamehameha at Buu's cocoon, only to get a cheap shot landed on him by Nappa. I want to see the look on the runt's face when I kill his brother. Goku wipes the blood from his mouth with a smirk. I'd love to see you try. There's no sign of Deborah. This is our chance to beat Buu once and for all. Shin looks around the area, causing Gohan to give him a nod. He fires a ki blast at the cocoon, but instead of destroying it, it simply cracks open, a pink cloud coming from it. Shin gives a sigh of relief. Looks like your plan has been foiled. Before he could finish that sentence, Fat Buu forms above them, happily dancing around. This causes everyone on the battlefield to look at the monster due to his power being so much higher than everyone else's. What were you saying again, Supreme Kai? Babidi does a victorious laugh. Buu, if you don't mind, go and kill that cocky little bastard. As Buu aims his sight on Shin, Gohan steps in the way and tries fighting the monster, only to be severely overpowered. He wants to help, but Nappa gets in his way with a smile. Your opponent is me. This causes the fight between the two to pick up where they left off. Gohan tries his best to stop Buu, but he's constantly knocked down But when the monster fires a ki blast at Shen, he doesn't hesitate to jump in front of him. The Supreme Kai had no option except to warp away to his world before it hit them. But Goku didn't realize this since he was distracted fighting Nappa, and all he knows is his son's ki has disappeared. Looks like the half-breed is finally dead. Good riddance, Nappa smirks. But Goku didn't pay attention to his words. His gaze focused on the pink monster, joyfully laughing about what he did. Gohan! Goku screams at the top of his lungs, his ki shooting up so high it splits the clouds above him. He charges towards Buu when Nappa once again tries getting in his way. I told you, Goku doesn't let him finish, unleashing all his power in a single punch that makes Nappa's pupils roll to the back of his head. He wasn't defeated, he was knocked out cold. Goku continues his assault and attacks Buu, giving him more of a challenge than Gohan did. The monster's regeneration barely keeping up with Goku's blinding speed and power, which far surpasses Super Saiyan 3 at this point. The climax of the fight arrives when Goku begins charging his signature technique, the Kamehameha. Babidi freaks out at the attack that was big enough to easily engulf Buu 2 times over. He does the only thing he can think of and warps Buu away to a random part of the world just in time. To think there would be someone strong enough to... Goku wasn't having it today and blasts Babidi away. Then he turns around and gives Vegeta a glare, the prince losing his Majin mark with the defeat of Babidi. Why? Why am I always falling behind? Raditz powers down, not seeing him as a threat anymore. Because you still haven't realized the true power of a Saiyan. And in that regard, you're still the same little man who's working under Frieza. What do you mean, true power of a Saiyan? I'm the prince, the pinnacle of our race. Raditz doesn't respond to the comment, simply flying away with his brother. We can bring him back with the Dragon Balls. It shouldn't take long to find him. We just need to get the radar from Bulma. Vegeta looks down in his hand as the two disappear and mutters, "What is it that I'm missing?" While all this is going on, Buu pops up in the Arctic area, fuming, his anger materializing in a cloud of smoke that forms a skinny gray version of himself. The two are arguing on which one would kill Goku until a fight finally breaks out, with the gray Buu winning thanks to him retaining more power during the split. Super Buu is formed with the ability to sense ki and rushes over for his rematch against Goku. He pops up in front of the Saiyan and his brother with a sinister smile before the two could even realize what was happening. A once furious Goku is now too shaken to even move. Buu takes this opportunity to slam him into the ground, making him drop the Dragon Balls he collected. His head then turns towards a frozen Raditz, still smiling, before going after Goku. How? He's almost gotten 10 times stronger in only an hour. Thinking quick on his feet, Raditz grabs his brother mid-assault and instant transmissions himself to the lookout, locking on to Mori's energy. The Namekian is surprised, but there's no time to talk. Raditz rushes an injured Goku into the time chamber, causing their energies to disappear. Luckily, we only used the time chamber once against Cell, unlike Vegeta. Do you think training will be enough to beat this monster? Goku weakly says as he catches his breath. I know you felt it as well. We can take the Super Saiyan transformation even further. Yeah, but what about everyone on Earth? It's obvious that monster is fixated on his rematch against you. Hopefully, this means he won't destroy the planet until he finds you. And with that comment, we switch back over to Buu, who looks around in confusion, wondering where Goku went. It then clicks in his head. He must have been warped away like he was earlier, thinking they are still on Earth. He begins his hunt to chase them down, destroying many cities in the process so he can defeat that spiky-haired punk. Though the two purebloods aren't the only ones getting stronger. Gohan is sitting in front of the old Kai as we speak. When he was transported to the world of the Kais, he was tasked with pulling out the Z-Sword, and thanks to his year of training, he gets a feel for the sword much faster, causing the Supreme Kai to test out the universe's hardest metal much sooner. But upon impact, it snaps, and out comes the old Kai. As thanks for freeing him, he begins unlocking the teen's dormant potential. A day passes, and half the cities have been destroyed. The only reason it's half is because Buu stopped by each town's sweet shop to enjoy the delicacies. Though during one of his feasts, he sensed an all too familiar key. He's back. Buu excitedly heads towards the lookout. Coming from the time chamber are Goku and Raditz with tattered clothes. He's already on his way. You only have a minute to finish the job, Raditz reminds his brother with a stern look. I know. That's all I need. You ran away. Were you scared? Buu mocks Goku as he comes to the open area of the lookout. No, I just wanted you to enjoy your last day on Earth. Goku charges up his ki, shaking the entire Earth at once. The surviving people thinking it really is the end of the world. But once everything stopped, Goku stands in front of Buu with long flowing hair. With this power, I'll avenge my son. Though Buu isn't scared, ready to pick up where they left off. The two's fists clash, proving that they are evenly matched, and the battle begins. They pop up all over the world, moving from one place to another, causing destruction in their wake. This happens so fast, not even Raditz could keep up. As the battle draws out, it's obvious Buu is struggling to keep regenerating. Goku notices this and readies a Kamehameha. Though before he can finish the job, his transformation runs out. Damn it! Has it been a minute already? Raditz screams, fearing for the worst. You were fun to fight. Buu heals himself up and charges up a massive pink energy ball that blocks out the sun. But now you die. No, not like this. Raditz powers up the Super Saiyan 2 and fires a Saturday Crush, but the beam doesn't even slow down the attack in the slightest. So he can have a world to return to. I'll push past my limits. Goku does his best, but is only able to muster Super Saiyan before firing his Kamehameha next to his brother, causing the ball to slow down, but not by much. We can't hold on for long. Seems you two have forgotten your Saiyan pride. Standing next to them is not only Vegeta, but a barely floating Nappa. The two power up the Super Saiyan 2s and fire their Gallic gun and break cannon together. This causes the ball of energy to stop in its tracks. Vegeta, why are you? If anyone is going to kill you two traitors, it'll be me and Nappa. Now focus your energies and let's save this pathetic world. Raditz doesn't argue, and with one simultaneous scream, the four use all their strength to push the ball backwards, causing it to leave the earth. Exhausted, they all revert to their bases, but the threat isn't gone. Buu starts chuckling, ready to attack the exhausted warriors again, but his face turns to one of shock when a high power level appears in front of them. But Goku is shocked for another reason, because the person in front of them is none other than Gohan, wearing his gi. And who are you? Buu asks. The one that will destroy you. Answers with an elbow to his stomach, followed by a flurry of blows that Buu is unable to keep up with. Unlike the fight with Goku, this is completely one-sided. Buu is frustrated at this and is ready to blow himself up, but Gohan isn't going to allow it. I promise after seeing my future self, I will also protect my world. For that reason, I'll never forgive you for all the innocents you killed. Gohan fires a Maseko Ha, the images of each stage of his life appearing behind him, firing at the same time, and just like that, Buu was defeated. Gohan turns around with a smile and gives his family a thumbs up, signifying his victory. Now that the threat is gone, the Z Fighters can use the Dragon Balls without worry to wish everyone killed by Buu back to life. Videl runs in to give Gohan a hug, while Goten and Trunks happily stand by her side, keeping their promise of protecting her. Since we did what you said, do you think you could teach us Super Saiyan 2 as well? Goten pleads. Gohan responds with a smile. Of course, you guys should be able to pick it up quick. I wonder what's stronger, Super Saiyan 3 or your new power? Goku nudges his son. I'm sure you'll want to test it out firsthand, Gohan laughs. Guess you guys won't let me slack off even for a second. It'll be a good way to stay in shape, but I won't be holding back. As the Son family enjoys their newfound peace, Vegeta alongside Nappa and Raditz stand on the sidelines. So, what are you two gonna do now? Raditz asks. I'll stay on Earth to one day find this Saiyan power you were speaking of. Until then, you better not die. Vegeta then looks over to his partner. You're free to do as you please. If you expect me to say, I'ma stay right with you, you're wrong. I'm strong enough to take over the remainder of Frieza's empire and give birth to a new Saiyan army, led by yours truly. Raditz tosses Nappa a capsule. Here's an extra gravity ship Bulma made for me. You can use it to get pretty far, but if you ever set your sights on Earth, you'll have to face me. I'll be waiting for our rematch. Nappa waves goodbye as he leaves the planet. And with that, everyone returns to their peaceful lives. But little do they know, the God of Destruction is about to awaken. Goku charges up to Super Saiyan 3 and gets ready for the opponent in front of him. Gohan charges up his ki as well, the terrifying amount of white aura that makes Goku's body shake with excitement. He charges forward without hesitation, but each of Goku's blows are blocked with ease. Meanwhile, all of Gohan's attacks hit their mark, though Goku isn't backing down. He uses instant transmission, catching his son off guard with a Kamehameha, but Gohan reacted in time to counter with the Maseko, his blast winning without so much as a struggle. But Goku was gone once again, appearing behind Gohan in hopes of landing a sneak attack, but that attack is blocked as well, and countered with an elbow that sends Goku crashing into the ground. With Goku out the picture, Goten and Trunks jump in, charging up to Super Saiyan 2. On the left, Goten fires a Kamehameha, and on the right, Trunks fires a Saturday Crush. But all Gohan does is smile as he holds out both his hands, dispersing the blast with sheer power. He then charges towards Goten and knocks him into base with a punch to the stomach. Trunks fires a flurry of ki blasts, but Gohan dodges them all with grace before giving him a neck chop that knocks him out of Super Saiyan 2. Goku flies up to lock eyes with his son once again, still retaining his Super Saiyan 3 form, but next to him is Raditz ready to help. They attack in unison, but not even the brothers combined could keep up with Gohan, who first takes out Raditz, but Goku refuses to go down without a final fist clash that shakes the earth. Goku unwillingly reverts back to base, admitting defeat, breathing heavily, trying to catch his breath after using Super Saiyan 3. Even though he can hold the form for a longer time, it means nothing facing against Ultimate Gohan. Raditz then announces Bulma's birthday is about to start and they all need to change. Trunks pleads to continue training, but Raditz grabs him by the ear and flies off. Not wanting to make his uncle mad and knowing his father would procrastinate, Gohan took it upon himself to make sure everyone arrives on time. When they do, the party is a huge success, that is, until the arrival of Beerus, who is looking for the Super Saiyan God. He declares himself to be the God of Destruction, and only Raditz has a clue of what that is, but not to the level of Prince Vegeta. Seeing his reaction, Goku eagerly challenges Beerus to fight, only to be slapped in the back of the head by Bulma, who offers food to Beerus, who of course gladly accepts, and finds it absolutely delicious, one to try everything alongside Whis. This keeps them occupied until late into the night. When the party is over, Goku jumps up again and begs Beerus for a fight, which the God of Destruction accepts. He revs up to Super Saiyan 3 only to be quickly dispatched by Beerus. Seeing his father defeated so easily sends a chill down Gohan's spine. Right now, more than ever, he wants to fight. So he announces, "I'll be your next opponent." Beerus expected Gohan to transform into some type of Super Saiyan, but the half-breed declares he no longer needs those forms and has greatly surpassed them. This upsets Beerus, who is specifically looking for the Super Saiyan God, but he'll see what the half-breed has to offer. Gohan goes in for a punch, which does connect with Beerus' jaw, but the guy just moves his head to look at Gohan, not phased in the slightest. He responds with a backhand, though Gohan is able to catch himself mid-air and doesn't fall as easily as his father. Beerus is shocked to see he's still standing and calls forth a flurry of ki orbs that flies towards Gohan all at once. He counters with the Maseko, but is struggling to stop even one of them. Looking behind him and knowing if he fails the earth could be destroyed, Gohan charges up his white ki, shining a light that illuminates the dark brighter than anything the sun could produce. With this display of power, he's able to destroy all the ki spears, leaving him breathing heavily for the first time in a long time. This gets Beerus excited, wondering just how much he can take. Gohan responds with a scream, pushing past his exhaustion to charge at Beerus. The god rewarded his spunk with a clash that shakes the northern galaxy. But Beerus was too powerful, and Gohan was flung back onto Earth like a meteor. His family and friends rush to his aid. Beerus comes down with a smile, excited for his next opponent on Earth. The god of destruction looks to Raditz, thinking he may be the Super Saiyan god. Though the Saiyan knew if Gohan stood no chance, neither does he. But he does have the idea to just wish the Super Saiyan god here. With a nod of approval from the god of destruction, Raditz hurries to where his wife gathered the Dragon Balls and calls upon Shenron, who informs them that they can't wish upon the Super Saiyan god, but he can tell them the ritual to become one. Once they find out how they perform the ritual, they use it on none other than Gohan, the strongest of the group, but it doesn't work, and since the dragon is already gone, they can't wish Tarble to Earth. This is when Videl reveals she's pregnant, and they try it once again. As Gohan feels his power coursing, he knows this will be enough to protect his pregnant wife. Although he does much better than Goku in canon, the Super Saiyan God form does disperse into his base. The battle comes to an end soon after, and Beerus leaves satisfied along with Goku, who has a new goal to reach. But Raditz isn't so happy. He was the only one who didn't fight with Beerus, seeing himself as a coward. So he comes up with the idea to train under Whis, of course bringing his little brother along with him. This is an easy task. All he has to do is offer some good food from Capsule Corp. Whis and Beerus accept his offerings and take them to Beerus' world, where their godly training begins. Gohan was offered as well, but he wants to stay on Earth, not wanting to miss a moment in his daughter's life. But he promises to continue training so his uncle and father can have someone to face to show the results of their training. Though during all this, an old threat has been revived. Frieza is brought back with the Earth Dragon Balls thanks to Sorbet, but what he's awakened to is bad news. Nappa has taken over a majority of the Frieza force, leaving Sorbet only a small fleet in fear of when they would get assimilated into the Neo Saiyan army. Though Frieza doesn't really care about a Saiyan whose name he didn't even bother to remember, but Sorbet informs the tyrant that the Saiyans defeated Majin Buu. That name gets a reaction out of Frieza, who realizes he would need to do some training before facing the Saiyans again. Now usually this would go uninterrupted, but in this what if, after 2 months of training, the Neo Saiyan army would detect the high power level on one of their ships. This would immediately be relayed to Nappa, who is in disbelief at the number and would want to personally check out what's going on. When he arrives on the planet, he's met by Tagoma, who at this point is stronger than Final Form Frieza, which confuses Nappa. Last he checked, he was only as strong as Zarbon and Dodoria, so how did he get thousands of times stronger in such a short time? But training with Frieza for so long, Tagoma started picking up some of the tyrant's traits, especially his hate for Saiyans. He calls Nappa a dirty monkey, confident he could kill him if he's by himself. But he underestimates his stand, which is his downfall, because in the blink of an eye, Nappa appears in front of him and blasts him away with a single ki attack. Nappa walks off with his head held up high, only to be stopped in his tracks by an all too familiar laugh. He turns around surprised to see that Frieza has been revived. The smug look on his face causes Nappa to flare up to Super Saiyan 2. He charges at the former tyrant, which causes him momentary shock, but before the attack could land, Frieza had transformed into his final state, trying to block the attack, but is sent flying. Frieza dusts himself off, impressed his lackey's lackey has gotten so strong, but he won't lose. The battle commences, and it takes place all over the area in the blink of an eye. Unlike the martial artist Goku, Nappa is a brawler. He begins an unrelenting beatdown that Frieza couldn't hope to stop. The tyrant tries fighting back, but Nappa shrugs off each blow, not even trying to dodge. It's not that these attacks don't hurt, but he's taking them like a champ with a devious grin filled with blood. This frustrates Frieza to the point of him going to old reliable, blow up the planet and survive in the vacuum of space, something the Saiyans can't. Though when Frieza launches the massive death ball, Nappa counters with his bomber DX. The collision of the two attacks causes a huge explosion. Before Frieza could gather himself, Nappa comes out of the smoke, launching a point-blank break cannon that wipes out the tyrant in an instant. Nappa powers down, battered and bruised, but still walks with his head held up high. In a sense, this was a way of proving that he was the true leader of the old Frieza force, better known now as the Neo Saiyan army. He tells his forces not only to prepare him a healing pod, but announce his victory. The news spreads to Sorbet, who finally admits defeats and joins the Neo Saiyan army. Better time than any to discuss Frieza's power, because a lot of people are going to be talking about it. In the RF arc and movie, he was weaker than the God-absorbed base Goku or Saiyan Beyond God. Only after turning golden was he able to match and arguably slightly surpass Blue, but that's an argument for another time. Regardless, he only got his golden form after 4 months of training, immediately heading to Earth after getting it, which is why he couldn't maintain it and lost to Goku and Vegeta. So he doesn't have that trump card. After only 2 months, meaning he only has his final form, which I put around Buu Saga Super Saiyan 2 level, meaning him and Nappa are around the same level, which I think is fair, since we have no way of scaling his power. If you have your own headcanon, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Moving on with the story, we get into the Universe 6 tournament, which happens for the same reasons. Champa is jealous of the food Beerus has on Earth, but doesn't have his own. Since the God of Destructions can't fight one another, they hold a tournament with their strongest competitors to decide on who gets Earth and who gets the Super Dragon Balls, which Champa has been collecting in secret. The biggest change in this arc would be the lineup. Goku and Raditz both agree that Goten and Trunks should participate to further their training, since the adults originally refused to have them train with the gods when they pleaded, so this is to make up for that. And Monaka is still the final teammate to motivate the others to get stronger. Nobody fails the test, so they have a full lineup. Goku versus Batoma happens just like canon with the ring out, which is followed by Goku losing to Frost due to poison alongside Goten. Though after this second loss, Jacko spots the needle and Goku and Goten get to be brought back into the tournament. But before Frost is disqualified, Raditz says he wants to fight him. Similar to Vegeta, now that he knows that the poison needle is there, all he has to do is turn Super Saiyan, dodge every blow, and finish him off. The next fight with Vegeta should be a win, since Saiyans like Raditz are known to smack talk, so his feelings will get hurt. Next we have Raditz versus Kaba. Base to base they're equal, so Raditz kicks it up to Super Saiyan, which of course Kaba can't do. Now, unlike Vegeta, who tricks Kaba into transforming, Raditz just explains how the transformation works. He tells him he has to be angry and must have the desire to gain this power, but only he can find that reason. He uses Frost as an example. In base, he probably couldn't beat his final form, but with Super Saiyan, he can. He betrayed the trust of the universe and only he can save it with this form. Kaba imagines this scenario vividly, along with a slew of other opponents that could come out of the woodworks. He wouldn't be strong enough to stop. With an image of his planet exploding and the lives of those close to him disappearing, he unlocks the legendary transformation and is ready to continue the fight with Raditz, now once again on equal grounds. Though Raditz didn't let the fight go on for long before transforming into Super Saiyan Blue, telling him that this is the latest and greatest that he should strive for. Grateful for what Raditz did, he now sees him as a master, though his master doesn't fare too well against the final opponent of Hit, who he's unable to see past his time skip. But watching this battle allows Goku to try and figure it out. Once he does, he turns blue to continue the battle, but realizes this won't be enough. So he tries something he wanted to wait to use when he sees Gohan again. Thinking of the rematch with his son, a fight against Beerus, and this conflict right now, Goku knows he has to constantly break his limits if he wants to catch up to all these powerful opponents. So with that in mind, he discovers a level beyond Blue. Super Saiyan Blue evolved. This form increases his muscle mass, turning his hair into a darker shade of blue. I always put this as a 20x amp on top of Blue, since it was standing side by side with Kaioken times 20 Goku in the Tournament of Power, meaning this is greater than the times 10 Goku did at this moment with his Kaioken in canon. So with this 2 times boost, I feel like Goku would win the fight, even though he wouldn't accept the victory, wanting to fight Hit again without the no killing rule. Zeno arrives soon after, befriending Goku and promising to hold another tournament. Now, we are going to skip the Future Gohan arc. This pretty much would be the same as the Future Trunks arc, Just replace Trunks with Gohan and there you go. Not much can change except the emotional beats of Gohan being sad that his alternate self is living the life he never could because all he's ever done is fight. But he snapped out of this depression by meeting his little brother Goten, who wasn't born in his timeline. Also, Goku and Raditz would fuse for the first time into Roku. You can call it Raditz like Moscow X if you like though. The last saga I'll cover is the Tournament of Power. The changes will start in the recruitment portion of the arc. The humans and Piccolo would still have the same stories, but since we are missing a few canon members of Universe 7, we need replacements. Our first two changes are training inside Whis' stab. Goku goes in to find Goten and Trunks, who are learning to move surrounded by God Ki. Goku is impressed they picked it up so quickly. It seems after seeing Goku's blue evolution, the boys gained motivation to train. They pleaded with their parents who eventually caved in, so whenever they have free time, they train under Whis. This part ends with them discovering Super Saiyan God and Goku feeling like they're ready, knowing they will only get stronger from here on out thanks to the tournament. Next, Goku instant transmissions into space, landing on Nappa's spaceship. Everyone is surprised, but the Neo Saiyan army leader rolls his eyes, wondering what Kakarot wants. He explains that's a tournament with the strongest fighters, and this interests Nappa, who brags he defeated a revived Frieza, though Goku isn't too impressed because in hindsight, Frieza was kinda weak, but Nappa defends himself saying he was getting crazy strong, but he soon composes himself saying, first things first, before joining this tournament, his army is having a hard time rescuing a planet from a dictator. When something like this happened, Nappa likes to go down and raise morale by dominating the battlefield. Goku excitedly joins and they easily end this war. As they zoom across the battlefield, Nappa saves all the injured warriors, showing that he truly does care for his army, and because of this, they respect and are extremely loyal to him. His Neo Saiyan army now, because of this, is more like the police force of Universe 6. After returning all the stolen planets from Frieza's tyranny, they go across and rescue planets from evil dictators, leading to a lot of people willingly joining his army in admiration. With that situation handled, they only need one more member. As they brainstorm on who to add, thinking they should get Turbo, Tights comes to say she's here to help. After hearing the situation from Bulma, the group tells her there's not much she can do, but she explains she's not gonna fight, it's her husband, which is none other than Vegeta. Everyone is shocked, and they explain while Vegeta was on his journey of self-discovery, they ran across each other and the rest is history. He now has a new reason to protect this world and wants to join. With that, we have 10 members and can start the tournament. We'll mainly focus on our new members since everyone else's battles would be the same. All of Vegeta's fights are just replaced with this version of Raditz. Trunks and Goten are doing fairly well thanks to Super Saiyan God. They can handle most of the canon fodder. Their biggest challenge would come from Universe 2's Warriors of Love. They take out 2 of their members, but the third, Rubrian, proves difficult, especially in her giant form, which is able to eliminate Goten. She then announces that the reason they lost is they don't have enough love. But Trunks envisions his family, his dad and mom who has always been there for him and supported him, and his little sister who he wants to be there for and support. This family love fuels Trunks into unlocking Super Saiyan Blue, the power needed to defeat his opponent once and for all. Skipping forward in the tournament, after Goku unlocks Omen for the second time to defeat Kale, fusion is now allowed. Nappa and Vegeta, knowing they have fallen behind due to God Ki, are at first hesitant to do it, but they each have their reasons to fight to protect their universes. Nappa with his army and Vegeta with his new family. So they even the odds by using Potara to become Super Saiyan, what I'll call Nappa for now. This fusion is nothing to scoff at, and with the help of the other members of Universe 7, it was the key to taking out Laza. The last major change is Gohan is obviously stronger because he never stopped training. He's able to handle himself better, defeating Dispo and not having to suicide himself off the ring. With all these differences, there are a lot of remaining members of Universe 7 against only one Jiren. Nappa tries firing the final cannon, a mix of the final flash and the break cannon, to no effect. Jiren not only blocks it, but counters with a hit that splits the fusion, sending them flying to two separate sides of the ring. Trunks tries to help, but he's swatted away and wrung out with ease. Raditz, wanting revenge for his son, tries turning blue evolution, but is too tired from using it to defeat Toppo, so he can only muster blue, which isn't enough. But before he gets wrung out, he gives the last of his energy to his brother Goku. Like Kanon, Goku masters Ultra Instinct and pushes Jiren to the edge. But when he gets back up, he gains the help of his son Gohan as they work together to wring him out, knocking themselves out in the process. This leaves only the former fusion of Vegeta and Nappa. Everyone is worried as what they're going to wish for, except Goku. The two Saiyans simply give each other a half smile, saying all their goals can be accomplished without the Dragon Balls, so might as well wish back the other universes. This pleases Zeno and the universes are allowed to remain. Lastly, the Broly movie wouldn't happen like canon. Yes, Broly would be found, but Nappa wouldn't use him to kill the Earthlings, obviously. He would let them join the Neo Saiyan army and make Paragus a general, because they've met in the past and he trusts his abilities. As for Broly, when Nappa tests his power, excited to fight another Saiyan, he's pleasantly surprised at their all-out brawl and the increases he gains during the battle. So, he uses him as his official sparring partner, hoping to one day match that godly power he saw in the tournament without fusion. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the series, and if you did, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you have questions on why I did what I did or just want to see more videos. I also have a Discord that you can join that I enjoy being a part of, so jump in there if you want to talk more. Anyway, until the next video, have a good one.